Hey guys, how's it going? Ches back again with episode number 42 of the AC Milan career mode here on Xbox One. Now, if you missed yesterday's episode, you'll have seen us progress through to the next round of the Champions League. We're into the quarterfinals now against my beloved Chelsea of all teams. If you missed yesterday's episode, by the way, there is an annotation in the bottom left to take you to it so you can see the scenario in which we progressed. But we are in the next round of the Champions League, so it'll be very, very interesting to see us take on Chelsea. Real have Galatasaray, Man United have Barcelona, and Bayern Munich have Manchester City in the rest of the rounds. But Oscar is the man to a twist and turn, in fact, to get away from all sorts of players in different situations there, to actually have a very, very decent effort on goal. Now, we're playing at home at San Siro here. Chelsea are playing a very, very strong side, and I actually had to play a bit of a rotation team, considering we had the last game of the previous episode very, very close to the start of this game. So, unfortunately, we have to play a weakened side, but hoping that they can do the business in this one and set us up at least in a decent stead for the next game away from home in the second leg at Stamford Bridge. I felt more comfortable playing a reserve side in this fixture than I would have done in the away team, or in the away fixture rather. But Adam Yates is going to get us off to a fantastic start just before the half-time mark comes around. It's a great finish, in fact. We had a couple of good chances, drawed a couple of good saves out of Thibaut Courtois. In particular, Kevin Constance very strongly struck, left-footed strike from the edge of the box, but it was in fact Adam Yates who was going to score the goal to make the difference. He brought it down very, very nicely on his chest, and actually, you'll see from the angle from the third replay, he really struck it absolutely perfectly between three defenders and the goalkeeper. You'll be able to see from this one, look, three defenders there. He hits it between all of them, and Courtois can't react in time, and it swerves away from him right into that top left-hand corner. Really pleased with that finish from a player that hasn't necessarily lived up to his potential so far in his career at AC Milan, but he has been playing very, very well indeed. And Balotelli really should have extended the lead there, getting a great turn inside the defender. All he had to do was put it into the bottom corner, and he smashed it straight at Thibaut Courtois. And Robinho draws another good save out of the Belgian here, trying to square the ball back across, and Courtois again shows cat-like reflexes to get up, bat the ball away, and unfortunately, in the process of getting that ball away and Robinho challenging the two defenders around him, he actually went down and twisted an ankle when he landed. So I made a change. I brought on Cristante for the injured Robinho, put Julian Draxler out wide, and then swapped Cristante to a holding role and put Antonio Nocerino up at cam. But you can see Robinho really goes down in a heap there with a challenge against Gary Cahill, and unfortunately he's going to be out for 3 or 4 weeks or so. But we have to concentrate on the here and now, not 3 or 4 weeks' time, as Asmir Begovic makes a wonderful clawing save away from the header of Edin Dzeko there. Dzeko, of course, used to be at Inter Milan in this particular career mode, went to Chelsea in the recent January transfer window, and trying to make the difference for them here against us. And Schürrle just on the pitch again, great dribbling feet from him, as something we've seen from a lot of the Chelsea players in this game. Oscar in particular has fantastic close control, and Schürrle showing more of that. Unfortunately for him, rifled the ball wide of the near post, and we were able to take a 1-0 lead from the first leg of the quarterfinal of the Champions League. And we got a game in between the two legs here away at Catania, but this game was a week and a half after the opening leg. So we had some players go out on international duty, and those that weren't involved started in this game because the second leg is just around the corner. So it's a weakened side against Catania, so we can play our stronger 11 in the second leg of the Champions League away at Stamford Bridge. But as you can see, Juventus and Napoli both won their games in hand that they had on us yesterday, and we have dropped from first back down to third. But if we can get a win here, then that will still stand us in good stead for the rest of the season, pushing into the last 10 games or so, trying to get that Serie A title to go along with a potential Champions League. Who knows? We've got the second leg to come at the end of this episode. But as you can see, they've got a man on the floor there actually. Bogesio unfortunately found himself just sat there on the floor as they played on and had the corner come in, but nothing came on it. And Giovanni Dos Santos was the game changer yesterday, and this time not quite able to get us in front there on the half hour. Good save made by the Cagliari goalkeeper there, or Catania rather, not Cagliari. We played them yesterday. Catania goalkeeper, and we stay at 0-0. But Brian Cristante played in behind here. Great first touch with his chest, settles himself with his right foot, but drills the ball wide of that far post. And look, he just a random bit of observation there. He looks so much older than 19 on his player character. He looks like he's about 28, 29, coming towards his 30s. He's got this real rugged face with a unshaven look, but he's only 19 years old according to his stats. So We're hoping he can use all of the experience he's going to get in these games to progress and become an even better individual. But a young player that already has progressed to fulfil his potential is Alexander Lacazette, putting us 1-0 up there in the 63rd minute. A really accomplished finish across the goalkeeper into the bottom corner, and we take a 1-0 lead. But 10 minutes later, Catania on the attack. Castro with a free kick. They're just playing it around there. A bit of head tennis, and Thierry finds himself on the ball, whips it in. It's not the best of clearances from the defender there, and they actually win the second header. Barrientos is on the ball, and a tidy finish underneath the goalkeeper brings them back into the game at 1-1 in the 73rd minute as opposed to the 63rd minute when we took the lead. So it was time to go back up the other end and try and get that lead back again, and it's Didac who gets the ball brought down, plays it into Cristante. A bit of showboating, perhaps unnecessary, has the shot from distance but draws a good save out and a jarring goal. The Argentinian on hand to pluck the ball out of the air and keep us at level terms. But we're into stoppage time. Lacazette trying to get us a goal here if he possibly can, gets the ball tackled away from him, but Giovanni Dos Santos strikes the inside of the post, and Catania live to fight another day, clear their lines, and we only take a point from this one, so we lose ground on Juventus and Napoli above us. Hopefully they don't have winning games in this particular round of fixtures as well, but we've got no time to lick our wounds. We have a massive game next, away at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea in the Champions League quarter-final second leg, playing an entirely strong first team 11 here with Caceres and Victor Ruiz at the back. Mario Balotelli starting up top with, of course, Pedro and El Shaarawy out wide with Kazuki Honda sat behind him. And as you can see from the graphic that's going to pop up on your screen, Man City are leading Bayern Munich 1-0. Barcelona are leading Man United 3-1. And somehow Real Madrid are 6-0 up against Galatasaray, which is an absolute turn-up for the books. Although in real life, actually, in this particular round of fixtures in the Champions League, they were actually able to run out massive winners against Schalke, were they? So perhaps it is quite realistic. Real Madrid getting a massive scoreline over the two legs in the Champions League to progress through to the next round. But we want to progress through to the next round here, and Honda comes very, very close to finding that bottom corner. It just trickles past that far post. The Belgian is left sprawling on the floor. Can't do anything about it, but does just about have his angles covered, and we aren't able to get an away goal. But Oscar's in behind here, and that is a superb finish. Great feat to take it under control, and that finish is kind of evocative of Iniesta's first goal against Chelsea, in fact, in their Champions League winning season of 2012. The first, it's very, very similar to this scenario. A 1-0 lead for the home team going into the second leg away from home, and then that's similar to Iniesta's first goal for Barcelona. Of course, they went on to score a second before Chelsea brought one back to make it 2-1 to put them going through on away goals. For, of course, Fernando Torres scored his goal to ensure Chelsea went through with a winning aggregate score. But we want to make sure that we can get the away goal sooner rather than later here. Mario Balotelli draws a good save out of Thibaut Courtois, and we stay at 1-0. But Benyat's going to have a good shot here, blocked perhaps by an arm from Marcelo. Question there of a penalty perhaps, but El Shaarawy is the man on the end of the third attempt, and it's straight at the goalkeeper, and he's able to clutch the ball into his chest. We stay at 1-0 as we go in at half time. So as things stand, we are going to extra time. The only scenario in which that can happen is if it stays 1-0 to Chelsea and we stay 1-1 on aggregate with no away goals scored. But of course, if we were able to get an away goal, that would put us in the driving seat for a place in the Champions League semi-finals. And Pedro draws another good save out of Courtois there, trying to put the gears up here in the second half, trying to make sure we can get that away goal if we possibly can. Because, of course, if Chelsea score one more, it is a situation now of whoever wins the game wins the tie as a whole. And Mario Balotelli rises beautifully from that corner, beats his man to it, and a fantastic header at the near post to give us that away goal we craved so much. And as things stand, we are going through to the next round of the Champions League. And as things stand, Chelsea now need 3 goals to progress through to the next round. If they make it 2-1 and we go through in away goals, they need to make it 3-1 on the night. Somehow, Oscar is onside from that lob through ball, gets away from the desperate sliding challenge, puts the ball into the back of the net to make it 2-1 to Chelsea, his second goal of the night. But, as we just said, as things stand, we are going through on away goals. We have to make sure that Chelsea don't score another, because that would put them through on aggregate 3-2. The scoreline, in fact, that we came through into this round of fixtures with a 3-2 aggregate scoreline against CSK Moscow in the round of 16. So we're hoping to at least hold out here. I wasn't necessarily trying to hold the ball in the corner there. I just wanted to make sure that we maintained possession, ran down the clock a little bit by playing it short and making sure that I could accurately pick out a fellow AC Milan player. But regardless, the second corner we did just whack into the box and we were able to pick out a player. It was Balotelli, but he headed it straight at Courtois. Great reactions to reach up, plug it out the end, stop it from going in underneath the bar. But Chelsea weren't able to get that third goal that they craved and they needed so badly. And we do progress through to the next round of the Champions League on away goals against Chelsea. And Bayern Munich beat Manchester City 3-2 on aggregate. After City, in fact, did lead that tie 1-0 after the first leg, and the Barcelona and Real Madrid scoreline stay the same. They must have played their second legs prior to us playing our second against Chelsea. But as you can see in the league, unfortunately, we still sit 3 points behind Juventus and Napoli at the top of the table. We're joint on points with Lazio, only there on goal difference right now, and only 2 points ahead of Roma. Although, outside of the European spots, there is a massive gap back to Fiorentina. So you'd have to say we're guaranteed a European spot, but we don't want just a European spot. We want at least a Champions League spot, and if we possibly can, that Serie A title to round out this particular series before we head back to Chelsea to finish up on FIFA 14. But that's all for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please do feel free to leave the video a like if you could be so kind. Of course, if you enjoyed, feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. There's a link to do so on the left hand side of your screen, or of course a link in the description or your normal subscribe button. If you missed the last episode in this one yesterday, then there's an annotation on the right hand side. But of course, feel free to check the channel page for anything you have missed over the past few days. But that's all for me for now. There'll be my player later on tonight, but as of right now, that's all from me. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.